viewers, the children of God in the four corners of the earth. Hi, Igbala-ikehin. I have a very important message for all the children of God. This time is going to be every Sunday program, and it's going to be focused on the mysteries of the kingdom. It's titled The Kingdom Mystery. That's the theme of the program, which will be coming up every Sunday. The topic of the series we'll be dealing with in some weeks or months now is titled The Origin of the Mark of the Beast 666. This is a part 1. Again, I repeat the topic. The origin of the mark of the beast 666. Before we continue, because here before me I have a script which consists the list of questions that will help us to comprehend fully what the mystery about the mark of the beast is about. But first of all, I'll start with my name and what it means. Who is Igbala-ikehin? Igbala-ikehin is a covenant of God that God has decided to establish in this end time in form of the fulfillment of his word long time ago in the book of Genesis chapter 9 to humanity. And what do we mean by this covenant? As it is stated in that Genesis chapter 9, that this covenant will stand as a sign to the remnants of the earth, that never again will it destroy humanity, but through this sign, which is the sign of a rainbow, whenever it appears in the sky, it will serve as a remembering to all humanity that God will no longer destroy all flesh. So it is a kingdom covenant that God has established in this end time, and it is also established in Isaiah chapter 49 from verse 6 to 8. It's a covenant of salvation, as the name sounds, Igbala-ikehin. The salvation for the children of God in this end time generation, to redeem, to fulfill the covenant of redemptions, and also prepare all remnants of the earth for rapture in this end time, as is stated in that same book of Isaiah 49 verse 6 there. It says, and it shall be salvation to the end of the world, which is the meaning of Igbala-ikehin there. Igbala-ikehin, aye. The full meaning of Igbala-ikehin is Igbala-ikehin, which means the end time salvations of the world. So God has established this covenant in this end time generations to save his people in the end time of the world until rapture. That is the meaning of Igbala-ikehin. So Igbala-ikehin as a divine being, sharing the same spirit being with Melchizedek, Jesus of Nazareth, he is also born in a home with a family named Ojo, and he also have extended family who are very close, called Famoroti. So Igbala-ikehin was born into the family of Ojo and named at birth as Ojo Temitope. And he is born into the family of 5 children in the family of Ojo. Academic life, Igbala-ikehin attended in the olden days, though due to my own spiritual and family background, I was meant to get to the age of 6 years before I started school. So I was born in Lagos at Idiaraba in Mushin. So when it was 6 years, I, I, I was taken to Ekiti State to start my primary school. There I had my primary school and also graduated to secondary school. When I was in GS2 in secondary school, I had to come back to Lagos to complete my secondary school certificate. So after having my secondary school, later in years, in 2019, I also have a diploma in aviation course. Aviation is an organization or company that deals with airplane, the travelings of people, like airports. Any arrangement that has to do with traveling is what we refer to as aviation, for those who needs to know. So I had diploma in aviation course, air ticketing. So after that, ministerial life of Igbala-ikehin, I would say it started 2020. No, sorry to say, I would say it started 2000. Though by then I was not spiritually mature. Initially, I said Igbala-ikehin was born God's covenant. Being born as a covenant of God, Igbala-ikehin came to the world with divine covenant of God, which means the Spirit of God abiding with him, just like in the days of Jesus. So the family of Igbala-ikehin, though they are unbeliever, and they are still unbeliever, they were enjoying this covenant in an ungodly way, which later in this series of the origins of the mark of the beast, we are going to be talking about their activities. So in the ministry, Igbala-ikehin started around 2000. At that time, there have been prophecy that Jesus will come around that time. And many people doubted it, though it was in the spirit. Jesus actually came, and which was the year I began to experience the presence of God as a young person in ministry, while in 2003, the Lord actually fulfilled the first part of the covenant in my life. By then, I was working in a law firm after my secondary school education. So in 2003, as a young person, the Lord fulfilled the covenant. I was living my normal life, just as Jesus of Nazareth. My lifestyle is of the same as that of Christ, manifesting the purpose of God in ministry, but not spiritually mature to manage the nature of covenant that God has placed upon my life. So the family, they manipulated me due to that immaturity in ministry. But my primary purpose as a ministerial man on earth is to be a man of God, to serve God like in the positions of ministry of Jesus of Nazareth while he was on earth. God living covenant. Now, talking about marital life, Igbala-ikehin is still single, even at 40, 41, due to some reasons that has to do with ministerial reasons and some other reasons that is more spiritual. Life experience from childhood has not been easy, in the sense that Igbala-ikehin is born into ungodly environment that is not godly for a child of God to fulfill God-given destiny. Even before I was born, though there have been prophecy that I, Igbala-ikehin, is going to be born into my biological family, and which my family members, extended and my mother, make inquiries, and they went ahead to make some ungodly decisions, taking some ungodly friend through ungodly advice. So right from childhood, Igbala-ikehin has not been having a good experience, especially with the kind of environment that he has been to. And until the time he discovered his relationship with God around 2007. So during those periods, the experience has been so bad because unbelievers who are his biological family has not been dealing with God and the covenant the way they should. Later in this teachings, I'm going to talk about some of the activities of this ungodly family who are the biological family of Igbala-ikehin. So the second question we are going to be considering regarding the origin, the topic that says the origins of the mark of the beast 666, is that who are the biological family of Igbala-ikehin? Like I said earlier, I'm born into a family of 5, and also the family name is Ojo, and the extended family name is Famorotin. And in my nuclear family, which is my immediate family, my mother and her elder sister, in the process of discovering that I'm going to be born into their home, they went ahead to make inquiries, and going to the wrong place to make inquiry, they eventually fall into the hands of the spiritualists. And this, because of their kind of desire, ungodly desire for wealth and riches, the spiritualists gave them the kind of solution they need. That they are going to provide 3 women, and each of those women will be standing as a covenant to the devil for 6 years regarding the covenant child that is going to be born, regarding the years of the covenant child, which is myself. And each of them is going to be making a sacrifice of a soul to be able to perfect the covenant for each 6 years. They are going to be having their control over the covenant. Both in my nuclear family and extended family, the 3 women were selected. The first of the women is the aunt to my mom, while the second person is my mom herself, and the other person is also a sister to them in the family. So that is how they started. It was my mom, my aunt, the sister to my mom, that started her home. And she started it the very year I was born, which is 1982. She started her own in 1982, and during this year, throughout her year, I was made not to go to school at all, so that she would be able to fulfill her own part of the evil covenant by sacrificing a soul. She actually sacrificed a soul, but not a member of the nuclear family. Before that time, when I was growing up, I later heard that she brought somebody to Lagos and the person suddenly disappeared. But later, after the discovering of myself in ministry, the Holy Spirit related it to me that it was that soul that she donated as a form of her sacrifice. So during those 6 years I was in Lagos with her, she completed her own spiritual management upon my life through that 6 years. And when the 6 years was complete, she sealed it before my mother continued with her home. And during those 6 years, the covenant was so sealed that, as a young baby, I knows nothing. And that was why she was able to fulfill the covenant, and she stood as two things to me at that time. Due to the fact that I was very young as a baby, childhood, she stood as enemy as friend, because she was made to protect me throughout a period of 6 years, that nothing happens to me. At the same time, destroying my life spiritually, because they are they have covenanted with the devil within that 6 years, that at the end of their six years, they are going to seal it as a covenant evil mark of the devil called 666, to the devil, and be placing it off on humanity through sexual immoralities, which is the spiritual mark on humanity in this end time, that the Bible refers to in the book of Revelation chapter 13. So another questions we need to consider. So before we go on to the next question, by the time three of them we have their 6 years, my aunt, my mother, and the other woman in the extended family, that the years will now be completed as 18 years, which is 18 years that Igbala-ikehin has been in existence on earth. That time I was in secondary school. It was on the male child of my aunts they placed the covenant. They are doing it in order to replace the covenant of Igbala-ikehin, because since it is through darkness they are accessing their own part in the covenant, they cannot use the covenant of Igbala-ikehin, but use it through ungodly means. So they place the ungodly evil covenant on a male child of my aunt's son. That is how the son began to use it also to fulfill their own purpose. The third question I will be asking and be answering about Igbala-ikehin is that was there any revelation or prophecy about Igbala-ikehin? Yes. Before the birth of Igbala-ikehin, there have been revelation that a covenant child, just as Jesus of Nazareth, there was revelation that is going to be born. The first prophet that stated that was Isaiah. So even in the days of Bible, Isaiah also stated the covenant of Igbala-ikehin, but many did not have the understanding, even myself, not until the time of the fulfillment in Isaiah 49:6 and 8. So there have been revelations, and that was what led my mother and her elder sister to a spiritualist, to bring out solutions that will favor them in enjoying their own portion from the covenant. And regarding the prophecy, my mother and her, I said earlier, visited a spiritualist who is from the powers of darkness. He gave them the revelation, which is the solution that is suitable to them, by making a covenant with the devil. So the result of their visit to spiritualists, I've said, in 1982, when I was born, they are meant to manage the years of the covenant, my whole year. The first person, who is my hands, will start from the first year, which is 1982, to 1988. The second person will start from there 6 years until when I was 18 in 2000. That was when they completed their assignment, and each of them sealed their covenant with the blood of a soul. My own mother used my own blood. He donated me as a sacrifice to seal her own covenant. While the third woman also used her daughter. It was only my aunt that used the blood of an external extended family, not her own son or daughter. So that is the way they seal the covenant, each of them with the blood of a soul. The assignment of the three women to the devil is at the end of these 66 years, which is 18 years of the existence of Igbala-ikehin on earth, is that they are going to seal it as evil covenant of destructions and place it on a male child of my hands, because it's like an elder to them. It's the one who controls the other two. And in the period of our being in charge for the first 6 years, the Lord has revealed certain mystery to us about the kingdom. The mystery that makes possible for a person to manifest as a spiritual agent in the spirit, which is recorded in Romans chapter 1. Romans chapter 1 verse 18, if you read it to 32, there the Bible stated it that there are certain mysteries from the foundation of the earth that God has decided to reveal to them. So due to the fact that God revealed to them, they corrupt the covenant of God the more over my life through ungodly sexual immoralities, to go deeper in the darkness, because nobody maybe as a child of God that is able to manage the covenant, but God left it in their care. So this is how they abuse it and eventually fulfill that evil covenant with the devil. I mean these three women, and place it on a male child of the family. So the sacrifice of the three women, I've said it earlier, each of them donated a soul, and my mother donated mine. Uh, in the Before we continue this series, I'm going to state how my mother fulfilled her own and how God took over, that I'm still alive to today. So the next thing we'll be talking about, the abominations of the family of Igbala-ikehin. The abomination has to do with all the ungodly teachings. Like in darkness, you can never find things that is in agreement with the will of God. Lie, unrighteousness, murderer, uh, all kinds of immorality. But the major means through which they practice their own in the family regarding Igbala-ikehin is through sexual immoralities. Because the moment this marks, this 18 years has completed, they place the mark on a male child, and they began to use it as use him as sexual immoralities in the society, sleeping with women and putting the blood, the mark, evil mark in their body, initiating them into the kingdom of darkness. Anyone that is close to Igbala-ikehin, because the moment everyone is close to Igbala-ikehin, there's a privilege that the person will have a benefit of the covenant that is with Igbala-ikehin. If such a person is a female, they will look for a way to sleep with such fellow, so that they will take away that covenant of Igbala-ikehin from his life. Even though if the person is male, they will just get a way of using a woman to sleep with such fellow, so that the covenant of God will be withdrawn from the person. Because the moment sinful acts enter into the life of a person, the glory of God will depart, just like in the days of Adam. The sin of Adam took away the glory of God. So that is how they deal with the children of God who are ignorant of the covenant of Igbala-ikehin. The moment they are close to Igbala-ikehin, enjoying the benefit, they will use one way or the other to lure them into sin, so that they will steal the glory of God from them. So that is how they practice their immoralities until they fulfill their covenant and on. Another question I want us to be treating is that, what were the mysteries about the three women? The women partner with the spiritualists. As a spiritualists are all those babalawo, they deals with the powers of darkness. And these spiritualists too, the condition they give them, and it's because they will also enjoy in part of these conditions, and that is why they have to make covenant together. They cannot break the covenant, but because both of them, it's just as if you are dying with the devil, you make covenant with the devil. So they have to play their parts. So until three of them fulfill their own part of the sacrifice, My mother fulfilled her own. He eventually donated me. Even at that time, before she could donate me at that time, she has to ensure that I I'm lured into sin. They try sexually, but I was the type of person that I don't mess up myself sexually. So she has to have a way of bringing ungodly food in form of bringing human flesh to the house. At that time, there was a revelation that God revealed to me that some of the meats that she brings home from work where she sells things is not ordinary animal flesh. But at that time, because of my spiritual stage or level, I couldn't comprehend that it was Holy Spirit that was talking to me. So through that, she was able to initiate me and bring me under a captive of ignorant sin that was committed on my behalf. So that is how she was able to fulfill her own part using me. But because God saw that I'm ignorant, as at the time that the fulfillment of our own sacrifice will come to being, God has relocated me into a good and godly environment where God has averted the evil covenant and given me the revelations of my purpose on earth, and eventually fulfill another, which is the new covenant, the covenant of the kingdom of Igbala-ikehin over my life. So as she plans to sacrifice me, God is also planning, arranging for my life how he's going to fulfill his divine covenant over my life. So the deep secret behind the mystery of my hands, who was the first woman to start the first 6 years, they were enemies to Igbala-ikehin from birth, 3 of them, because they were using evil covenants to, to have their own portion of the divine covenant. So they were enemies. But my hands, due to the truth that she knows that I'm a very young child, from childhood, she had to ensure that nothing evil happens to me. Why she plays a role as evil covenant with the devil. The covenant they made with the devil, she has to play a part in fulfilling it. At the same time, she's the one who is preserving, ensuring my safety, that nothing bad happens to me. So the first woman, who was my aunt, played the role of both enemy and friend. Eh? Enemy like friend. She's the enemy, but she 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 behaves like friend. Another question, which is the last question concerning the first part of the program today, which I titled the origins of the mark of the beast 666. So the last question is, what was the aim of the 3 women? Simply because the source of their assignment is from the devil. And the Bible tells us in John 10:10, say the devil has come to do nothing but to steal, to kill, and to destroy. Their mission is to destroy God's covenant over all flesh. God in this end time has planned it through the covenant of Igbala-ikehin to save the remnants of the earth from destructions by fulfilling this covenant and give them the salvation that will make them rapturable, and also restore the glory, their heritage, that the Antichrist has planned to steal away from them. And this is the covenant the Antichrist wants to cancel, so that they will be able to destroy all humanity and continue with their evil covenant with the devil, and continue to abuse the life of humanity the way they desire, and eventually destroy mankind. That is their aim, to limit. And one of the negative part on Igbala-ikehin, the activities of these 3 women, number 1 is to limit the education of Igbala-ikehin. They don't want education of Igbala-ikehin, myself, to go beyond secondary school education. which I broke that covenant in 2019. Number two effect of their evil aim is to prevent me from discovering my God-given purpose, because they knew that the moment I discovered my God-given destiny, then they won't be able to fulfill their part of their covenant to the devil, and they won't be also to enjoy their their demonic uh, benefits from this covenant. So they want to limit the level of my academic educations and